whatsoever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was considered good for any piece of business that was to put his hand to. Bobby, dead as a door.
Now, I don't know what that is particularly dead. About a doornail. I would think a coffin nail would be a dead sign. But far be it for me to change the expression. The whole country's done for. So, permit us to repeat, once again, emphatically, that Marley was as dead as a doornail.
Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could he know this? Scrooge and he had been partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole friend, and the only man who mourned him. It can be said Scrooge mourned all. And the mention of Marley's funeral brings us back to where we started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story we are going to relate.
Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterward, above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Some people new to the business called Scrooge and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him.
Bah, humbug!
It was bitterly cold, and the fall was as thick as pieces on that Christmas Eve the 1943. And Scrooge sat busy in his stomach house. This clerk, he eventually warmed himself in a candle. But since he didn't have much of an imagination, he failed.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle.
What?
I said a Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug? Uncle, surely you don't mean that.
Of course I mean it. Merry Christmas indeed. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come, Uncle. What reason have you to be dismal? You're rich enough.
Bah! Away with Christmas! What's Christmas? A time for paying bills without money. A time for finding yourself a year older, not an hour richer. Why, I was to work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holy through his heart. He should, Uncle, nephew, keep Christmas in your own way. Let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. A lot of good it has done you.
Well, there are many things from which I've benefited. Even if they didn't show profit, I dare say. Christmas among the rest. But if anything belonging to Christmas can be considered apart from the sacred source of its name and origin, I'm sure I've always thought of Christmas as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time of year I know when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and think of others as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of silver or gold in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good, and will do me good, and I say, God bless it! Hey, sir.
One more sound out of you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your position.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come and dine with us tomorrow.
See myself in hell first.
But why, Uncle?
Why? Why? Let me ask you a question. Why did you get married recently?
Because I fell in love, of course.
You fell in love? Good afternoon, nephew.
But you never came to see me before I married. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry to find you so resolute. We've never had a quarrel, you and I. But I came all this way to give you greetings of the season. So I'll keep my Christmas humor to that. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
You. It's a Merry Christmas to you, Godfrey. Oh, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you.
There's another fellow. My clerk. 15 shillings a week. And the wife and family. Talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to bed.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's dead. In fact, he died 7 years ago this very night.
I'm quite sorry to hear that, sir. But I have no doubt his generosity would be well represented by his surviving partner.
At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we make some slight provision for the poor and needy, who suffer greatly at the present time. Many thousands are in want of basic needs. Hundreds of thousands in want of common comfort, sir.
Are the new prisons? Did they disappear?
No, sir, there are still prisons.
And the workhouses for the poor? Still in operation, I presume?
They are. Still, I wish I could say they were not.
The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor then?
Very busy, sir.
Oh. I was afraid from what you had said that something had stopped them in their useful course. I'm glad to hear it.
Given that they can scarcely furnish Christian cheer to the multitude, a few of us are trying to raise a fund, buy the poor some meat and drink and some beads of wool. We choose this time because it is a time above all others, when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. Now, what shall we put you down for?
Nothing.
Do you wish to remain anonymous then?
I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make either people merry. I have taxed for the institutions I've mentioned, and they cost enough. Those who are badly off must go there.
But many can't go there, sir, and many would rather die.
Oh, well, if they'd rather die, then perhaps they should go ahead and do it, and decrease the surplus population. Besides, I wouldn't know anything about it.
You could know of it, sir.
It's none of my business. I have too much of my own business interviewing other people's. I'm occupied to be constantly, and I'll beg you to leave me to it. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Lord, rest ye merry, gentlemen, let nothing you dismay, for Jesus Christ our Savior.
Get away from here! I'm not to be involved in that noise! You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
Well, if it's part convenience, son.
It's not convenient. And it's not fair. Why, if I was to hold back half a crown for it, you'd think you were being abused, no doubt. Yet, you don't think me ill-used, and I pay a day's wages for no work.
Oh, it's only once a year, sir.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Still, I suppose you must have it. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, I shall. Oh, yes. Yes, I certainly shall. Hello, my dear son.
What are they waiting for you?
Let's go by Cornhill. We'll watch the children play. Someday, you'll be playing with them too.
I feel like I'm getting stronger every day.
And do you remember what tomorrow is?
Christmas Day!
Not to have the whole day off to celebrate with my family.
Hurrah for Christmas!
God rest ye
Merry, gentle, let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we had gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Oh, Scrooge, he was a tight-fisted end at the grindstone he was. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, clutching, covetous old sinner, to be sure. Secret, self-contained, and solitary as an oyster, he carried his own low temperature with him everywhere he went. Iced his office in the dog days and didn't go up 1 degree at Christmas.
Scrooge always took his melancholy dinner in the same melancholy tavern, and this night was no different. He'd read through all the papers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, before he took himself to bed. He lived in the chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner.
They were gloomy suite of rooms. It was old and dreary, but nobody lived in there but Scrooge. All the other rooms being let out as offices. The fog and frost so hung about the black old gateway of the house that it seemed as if the genius of the weather sat in mournful meditation on the threshold. Upon arriving in his chambers, Scrooge took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown, slippers, and his nightcap, and sat himself down before the fire to take his brew, for he had a cold in his head. It was a very low fire indeed. Nothing on such a bitter night. He was obliged to sit close to it and